Sakasakabo and bienvenidos. This is Roxana from Metamorphosis Rocks, and today we're going to talk about the true crime debate. Now, before I even go there, just so you understand what's going on, I'm about to move, so I am going to be very sparse with the videos in the next coming weeks. I'm just trying to get rid of all the videos that I had filmed or that I had the voiceover done for or whatever. I'm just putting them all together really quick so you guys have some content, because I honestly don't have time for creating more content. But here we go, and keep in mind that these are a little old. They are 2-3 weeks, the screenshots, so the numbers may vary. But you see, this is what my computer looks like right now, and in the process of packing boxes, in between each box, I'm taking a break to create a video from some of the material that you see on that screen. Now, also, don't forget, I do have my link tree in the information box below. We want you to consider donating to the Alzheimer's Association in honor of my mom. So without further ado, let's talk about this true crime debate. Now, for those of you who don't know, true crime is a genre on social media, specifically on YouTube. The part that I'm referring to is on YouTube, where creators talk about cases, whether they're still open or closed. It doesn't matter. The bottom line is that they give us their thoughts on the different crimes that are happening in the world. Now, I have my favorites. We have Bailey with 6 million, Mr. Ballin with 6 million, but Mr. Ballin does other stuff too. We also have Eleanor Neal with 2, Mike from that chapter with 1, and of course the baby of my favorites, and quite frankly my favorite, Pop Lux with 184, close to 200,000 subscribers. And here's the debate. The reason why the debate started was because Bailey, in her infinite wisdom, made a comment at the end of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, saying something to the effect of she was going to be sad that it was over. And at that point, some people, and there have been conversations about this for a while, but some people, including some of my friends that I'm not going to throw under the bus, made some comments about how this is true life, this is not something to be made fun of, and blah blah blah. And I'm going to take both sides of this equation for several reasons. Now, newscasters have been telling stories of crimes the entire time that we've been alive, and there's been TV, and we all know this. I'm not referring to those today. That's a topic for another day. But let's talk about the shows that have been created to talk about this. Snapped is one of them. American Greed. City Confidential is the first one that I ever fell in love with, so I'm going to bring that up. Here's the thing. If you ever watched City Confidential with Paul Whitfield and then with the other cast members that were involved in this, they had their own flair for the dramatic, and they had their own sense of humor, and they added humor, and mostly ironic humor, to the situations that were happening. That is the crux of this debate. Some people feel that the creators on YouTube are not, and even TikTok, are not giving it the seriousness that it deserves because it's a true life situation. Now, I see the point of view. I understand what they're saying. I also understand the power of social media right now to influence results of investigations and even find missing persons, or unfortunately find the bodies of those who have been assassinated. And the truth of it is that you can't have one without the other. And I'm going to tell you why. Most people like watching the shows and like watching the programs here on social media because they are funny, because it's the only way they can deal with their grief. Now, I understand that when it's happening to you, it's a different story. But I'm not going to sit here and tell you that every time somebody has died in my life, I have not found a way of making jokes about it, because I cannot live through it without remembering the good times. Now, in the case of Bailey specifically, who was the one who made the comment, she got used to the 6 weeks where we had all this craziness going on with the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial. And at the back end, part of the critique that I see from the other creators has some points to it. A lot of people were complaining that this should not have been aired at all because it's a private matter and blah, blah, blah. But the reality is that without this trial, men would have never come forward to say anything because they always feel like they're not seen as victims. In fact, I have people in my personal life who said to me, considering the way we see the story, if Johnny Depp loses this case, then I will never talk to another woman again because my fear is that if she does something to me, nobody will believe me. Because if they don't believe him, they won't believe me. And so jokes like Bailey Sarian's are an issue because I don't know how to say this, they add to that whole idea that men are not taken seriously when they are the ones that are the victims of crimes. Now, going back to the story about the true crime debate, the reality is that we see this all the time, not just real, but the favorite shows that some people watch, like Law and Order and CSI. Pretty much all those shows, the cases that you see on those shows are based on real life events. And if you don't believe me, sit down one day and watch a CSI episode and then go to Google and Google the type of crime, and you'll find at least one case that refers to that. Because they do take it from, even Law and Order at some point had the logo that said something to real life cases, blah, 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 blah. There is a lot of overlap between real life and fiction on TV. Not just in the case of true crime. Medical shows, legal shows, all these shows have a basis on reality. And the truth of it is, and I gotta be blunt, this is where I have the problem, is that I don't see the same people that complain about YouTubers and TikTokers talking about crime having the same issue when the show is on TV. We tend to take traditional media as a standard, and we don't give them the same heat that we give to these people. And that's where I have the problem. If you're gonna say that true crime in general, you don't like it, because you have every right to your opinion, by the way. But if you say that you don't like true crime because you don't feel like they treat the crimes with respect and blah, 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 and you're talking about the genre in general, traditional media and social media, then you know what? You and I are fine, because I can see where you're going. I don't agree with you, but I can see why you would think that. I also find it amusing. And amusing is not the right word, but I can't think of the word right now. I also find it interesting. Let's say interesting. That the families that complain about the crimes not being taken seriously are the same families that have not found a solution to their crimes. People whose families have found, what is the word I'm looking for? It's when you wrap it up in a neat little package. Closure. That's the word I'm looking for. People who have found closure, whether it's through traditional media like Crime TV, 1-800-CRIME, or through social media, those people don't have any complaints. Why? Because thanks to a video, or because everybody keeps pushing this situation, they found what they needed to find to close the case. Now, it also serves another purpose, and I realize that the people who have a problem with the way the cases are presented might not be considering this, especially in the cases where there's no closure, meaning there's no guilty person paying for the crime. Having those creators talk about those cases puts pressure on police to solve them, because people start asking. People start paying attention to those cases again. Some of these cases are 20 and 30 years old, and we still don't know who did what or where is this person. And I understand that for some people, the way that shows are delivered is not the best. But you have to understand that most people don't pay attention if it's all doom and gloom. People need variety so that they keep paying attention. And I think these people do it very well. You don't like it, you don't have to watch it. I'm not telling you you have to watch it or you have to give it a chance. Or listen, if you don't like true crime, don't watch it, period. But to go and attack only online creators for something that traditional media has been doing for decades, in fact, since they started, that's where I see a double standard that I don't really appreciate. Let me know what you think about true crime. Do you have a favorite true crime podcast or show, or it could be traditional or YouTube? I don't care, because I will watch anything. Especially if it's more on the American greed side of things. I would rather not watch people dying. I have gone down the rabbit hole of both Mr. Ballin and Mike from that chapter, and it's depressing. So I like it better with Pop Locks because he makes it kind of funny, and you know, they don't mean any disrespect to the persons involved, by the way, and that's something that we also have to take into consideration. It's just the way they deliver is what works for them, for people to pay attention. And at the end of the day, we need more attention on many of these cases. Again, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching and have a wonderful day.